Durban, who has more information on the elections next week.
Of course, our focus today is municipal elections. Yes, it's around the corner. It's now just days away. The SABC will be at the forefront of reporting the elections and bring you all the results. How ready are we here at the public broadcaster for this massive challenge? Yes, it is a logistical nightmare. But to give us a little bit more detail, we're joined by our political and foreign editor, Sophie Mokoena, this morning to talk about our readiness. Morning, Sophie. Nice to have you with us.
Morning, Evan.
How ready are we, Sophie? This is such a difficult job, isn't it?
I think it is a difficult job, but the SABC, as it has done before, we are equal to the task. We are ready. You are aware that as a public broadcaster, we've been doing this project for quite a long time. I arrived at the SABC in 1994, therefore I can talk about post-democratic dispensation. I was there 1996, I was there 2001, I was there 2006, I was there 2011, and I'm here 2016, and I can tell you the whole team, the whole newsroom, even other platforms, they are ready, and of course we will do our best as a public broadcaster, and all 9 provinces are ready.
You talk about the public broadcaster. The public broadcaster has a very important role to play. Talk to us a little bit about this.
Well, it is a public broadcaster. You serve the interest of the public. Therefore, we must ensure that we inform the public. Therefore, we try our level best to ensure that we create space for all voices so that people can make choices from a very informed perspective. Therefore, we do follow everybody, not in the same amount of time or energy, because you are aware that according to the Act and the regulation is that we must give equitable, not equal, equitable coverage, but at times you'll find that a small party can be a lead story on the day. For an example, a day like this where you have NFP, which is before the electoral court, and we are expecting the electoral court to take a decision or make a ruling on whether the NFP will participate in these elections. Therefore, much as you have all these leaders of main parties and small parties out there campaigning, the big story, all eyes are on the electoral court, where people would want to find out what will be the outcome. Therefore, it becomes a story. So it depends on the day. But basically, we also ensure that we follow what's happening in Parliament. You are aware that you have parties that are represented in Parliament. And when they present or when they debate, their time allocation differ there. And we try to also borrow that kind of a formula to ensure that we are able to answer when a person says, why was I not the first story, or giving me 2 minutes or 10 minutes? You are able to say the bulletin is 20 minutes. We can't cover 200 parties in 20 minutes. So how do you do it? And of course, you then at times, today you'll have these parties, smaller ones, tomorrow those ones that you couldn't cover. So we are trying our level best.
Now, this weekend campaigning comes to an end. I think the cutoff is Sunday night. Talk to us a little bit about your views, how you've seen the campaign develop till now, and then what's your expectation into this weekend? We can expect a big splash from all the parties, one would think.
Yes, normally campaigning starts formally when the election date has been announced. But in these elections, because stakes are high and our democracy has matured, we have many parties, we have many interest groups. For an example, people might not be aware that we started in December when the UDM launched its manifesto in Bloemfontein. So we started as early as last year, and people might not be aware. And in January, when the ANC had its January 8, the normal January 8 statements, and many other parties that have been on the ground as early as January. You have the manifesto launches from February, March. We've been on the ground and we have tried our level best. And indeed, campaigning started very early, even before elections were officially announced. But campaigning had already started, and we were there all the time.
Do you have any concerns at the moment about accepting of results and about a conflict that we could see at voting stations and people not accepting results and so forth?
You know what, the IEC, as far as I'm aware, has got a system where they meet every month. I think this time around with elections around the corner and these elections hotly contested, I think they meet often, once a week or as much as they can. Therefore, I think that's where they are coming up with different ways to ensure that they prepare themselves for should there be disputes and all that. But I think the system of elections are such that there is a way to resolve those disputes. But indeed, there will always be standoff. I mean, look at what happened in 2014, where there were problems in Alexander, and therefore there might be pockets of some concerns and you know, people saying no, we don't agree. But I think the political parties have signed a pledge. They've committed themselves to ensure that elections are free and fair, and there is no party that is going to incite violence. And also you have the security establishment, you also have the IEC rules, and I think they will find a way to resolve those disputes. But really, these elections, one can say it's one of the hotly contested elections.
Yeah, and one I think that a lot of people around the country, and some would say in the world, have been looking forward to in a way. The one negative that's kind of been hanging over the election in the run-up to it had been the kind of targeted political killings that we've seen. How do you think this will affect elections, if at all?
This is the only black spot, and it looks like there were lots of discontent, and that led to loss of lives in different parts of the country, particularly KZN. We saw what happened this week in Eastern Cape and also in Gauteng at the hostels. Therefore, I think it's up to us South Africans to understand that we must exercise restraint in terms of fueling violence or killing people. I mean, everyone has a right to make his or her own choice, and we should allow that to happen. But I think the police will have to come in, the security cluster must ensure that everyone is protected. If I want to vote, I must vote. If I don't want to vote, I mustn't do so. I must be allowed and I must be protected. Therefore, I think the issue of security indeed should be a concern.
Now, which you travel all over the country and you see things firsthand. Which of the areas do you think will be the most hotly contested? Is it as simple as saying, it will be the metros? It's
not the metros. Metros might be simple for me as a journalist, because we already know or understand the context there. But it's these smaller municipalities in the rural countryside where we may see surprises. And I can tell you, from where I'm sitting, in terms of my experience, I'm expecting big stories from smaller municipalities. Metros, we all know, and we have our speculations, and I don't see a big surprise. But smaller municipalities, I'm afraid we may see some new trends there, and I think that's where the story will be. And it is for that reason, as a public broadcaster, we are everywhere, not only in the big cities, even in small municipalities, we are there.
Sophie, thank you for joining us. Yes, SABC will be everywhere. If you want to know what is happening this election, watch the screen. You can also go to our website. You can also go to our terrestrial channels. SABC News will be covering this election right through until the results come out. Some people are talking about results coming out next week, Saturday already. Sophie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.